today the little hen, Mrs. Bossy Boots, has gone behind the old Wendy house, which is the one the children don't use anymore. They've rather grown out of it. And she might make an enormous noise in a minute, which means she's just laid an egg and she's distracting us to take us away from the area she's laid the egg. And she knows we're stalking her because she's hidden them all over the place and in next door's garden. And I've stopped her going next door today, so she's probably pretty cross with me. So, oh, here's the dog. Everybody's here today. And this is our Wendy house, and this is the better Wendy house that one day we'll have the grandchildren over to paint. But meanwhile, it's a very useful postage box where Phil comes to collect the post, and where eventually I hope to be able to meet with my stitching friends. You don't need much space. I think I'm going to become the itinerant crewel worker, because I go all over the garden. Every room in my house is different for the light, and I love stitching in the morning. And I don't need very much. I need the model or a stitch chart. I need my wools, which are sitting there on a box of packaging. I've got my fantastic Meredith collection lovely gift that she gave me, which is a little tub there for putting everything in, and that's great because I never lose it because it's pink. I'm wearing my New Zealand jumper, my New Zealand vest, my American necklace, my Canadian trousers, and they're all gifts from lovely students, and I'm really missing you all. I can quite tear up, but I'm not going to tear up because I've just had a lovely retreat in Stratford, so I should not complain. We just squeaked in with our fantastic retreat there with our lovely tutors. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about going down this side here, and I've talked before about the ridges on the linen, and these little bumps here are the twill weave. And so you have the warp and the weft going across, and then you have the twill weave, and it doesn't matter which direction that goes in on your design. I quite like this orientation I've got here, which is northeast southwest orientation for the actual lines, but it doesn't matter. And in history they didn't care about that, and it was all in different directions anyway. So there's no right or wrong with that, but you should have the ridgy side as your right side. Now, when I'm stitching, I use the point of my needle just to nudge the last stitch out of the way, and you can see that especially with a double thread, it's quite fat as it comes out of the little hole there. I can hear the hen starting now. Right, now when I'm stitching as well, it becomes obvious where to put the needle down, because you're actually going into the top corner of a square. Do you see that? It's a little sort of square. If you imagine these little pieces here, you can see the weave, and you can just see where to pop your needle. So when you're actually going down the side, you can think, well, for my tension I could go in every little valley between a ridge, or perhaps I could go twice into that valley in that ridge. And I'm trying to keep this angle. It's rather interesting when you go round this sort of curve, an inward curve, you actually really have to push the last stitch across to get a very smooth edge. And I'm just getting enough thread, oops, and I'm not even going to have enough for a seeding stitch there, but I'm actually going to take my thread across to the top, and that will be caught by the second colour. So I'm going to do something terribly clever with this one as well, and I'm going to go and strangle a hen in the meantime. Cheerio.